because he does. He looks like he's a little bit faster than Ryan BP, but boy, hard to pass somebody sometimes. A lot of times when you get by a guy, you'll leave him, but this racetrack talked about is so narrow where you have to race. You can't get underneath the guy.
There we go.
And he got underneath him that time.
Kurt Busch out in front. Coming to 10 laps to go. He led the first 10 laps of the race. He might lead the last 10 and pick up the victory.
Man, has he been on a roll the last couple of months, that 97 car?
Yeah, they have.
You talk about him as far as guys who might look for that championship in 2003. Kurt Busch would be a strong contender. How about Tony Stewart? With Mark Martin falling back, well, actually just picked up a spot. He's up to 7th now. Got back by Elliott Sadler.
Tony's loose off and laying on the 26 car.
Now here comes Nemechek, the 25 car. This is what Kurt Busch does not want to see.
Yeah,
what he wanted to see was them racing side by side, though, because he's gotten away pretty quickly.
Got a pretty good lead. It's probably going to be about a second and a half, but I don't know. There might not be enough time. Nemechek might still run him down.
Well, we'll take a look. We'll get there. Both in clean racetrack now, so we'll see what they're running this next lap when they complete it.
So they better get going.
Now, if he's 0.2 of a second faster, Joe is, he'll catch him.
He's a 2nd and 0.6 back. 9 laps to go. He'll catch him at the white flag if he's able to make that pace up. You saw Tony Stewart still hanging in there. 16th place for Tony. Mark Martin running 7th. Ryan Newman trying to get around the lap car of Jamie McMurray. Boy, what might have been for him if not for the penalty for jumping a restart earlier at lap number 7. Put him a lap down. He's never made it up.
Actually, Busch was faster than Joe that last lap.
Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson going to race for 5th and 6th positions. And even if he loses this spot, what a season it's been for Johnson in that 48 car.
It has been phenomenal.
3 victories. Going to finish somewhere in the top 7 in the championship in his rookie season. Mark Martin right behind them. May be able to pick up a couple of spots quick if they get together.
Oh, yeah. That's how you race your owner.
7 to go.
Yeah, Chad was right and Jimmy, the crew chief, was right. They should have taken tires on that 48 car, huh? Remember that last stop, he wanted to put a couple of tires on it.
At least 2.
At least 2, and the driver talked him out of it.
Here's 3rd place. Jeff Burton in the 99 trying to take the long way around Newman in the 12.
And I'm sure Newman's doing a lot of sliding right now. Looking for these next 6 laps to go by quickly.
Now we're getting close to calling the election for Tony Stewart. I know we're in Florida, but hear me out, Wally. The worst, with Mark Martin running in 8th, Tony clinches the title by finishing 37th or better. 38th place on down or out of the race already. 37th place is 7 laps down. So I think at this point we can call Florida for Tony Stewart.
I think so, huh?
I need my little dry ink board there. What is it that Russert uses?
Let's let him run one more lap just to be sure.
Well, let's let him run all 5.
Yeah, that'd be even better.
Benny, there was an article in USA Today earlier this week, and we also talked with Richard Petty on Discover Card Countdown to Green, talking about Tony Stewart needing to understand the obligation of being champion, saying that the job of being champion just doesn't constitute driving a race car. Jeff Gordon, on the other hand, said that off-track responsibilities have nothing to do with being a great champion. Being a champion's about what you do on the racetrack. You're a Winston Cup champion. Got a thought?
I think you have to have, there has to be some things you do off the racetrack to represent. I mean, after all, they're at New York, they're going to give this guy almost $4 million. And there's nothing for nothing in this world. You're going to have to give something for it. So he's going to have to do some things off the racetrack and probably some things that he isn't comfortable doing.
Well, I think we've sugarcoated this story a little bit. I think it was a lot more to than that. But yeah, I mean, Tony just needs to be Tony. Tony shouldn't change for anybody. And he got here for being a great race car driver. He won the championship for being a good race car driver, not being certainly not being a politician. So as long as he keeps doing what he's doing, Benny's right. There are some things that come with being a champion that he's going to have to do, but he doesn't have to like it. And, you know, that's just...
And, you know, I like that about Tony. He doesn't like it, and he lets you know he doesn't like it, but he's still going to have to do it.
Yeah, and I don't think
kicking and screaming every inch of the way.
Well, hey, and I hope he, you know, that's the thing. You just don't want anybody to change just because they're champion. You know, I just hope Tony stays the same, and I think he will.
There's no doubt.
Waving Steve Park by. Tony will go to 18th position. Mark Martin is running 4th, but it's not going to be enough. Next time the white flag waves for leader Kurt Busch. And Tony Stewart will be 1 lap away from finishing off a very turbulent Winston Cup season with a champion's celebration. The headlines have been many involving Tony Stewart, not all of them good. The incident at Indianapolis with the photographer, much publicized. Tony put on probation by his sponsor for the rest of the season. But he and that team had so many opportunities to come apart at the seams from all the off-track distractions that were going on, and they didn't.
It made them stronger because it brought them much closer together as a team. As you see, the white flag is waving on this field.
It's the final lap of the 2002 season. Tony Stewart, 1.5 miles from a NASCAR Winston Cup championship. Kurt Busch is out in front of the race, looking to pick up his 4th victory of the season. 3 of those will come in the last 5 weeks of the year. Put Kurt Busch on your calendar as a Winston Cup title contender for 2003. Checkered flag is up. The Ford of Roush Racing wins the Ford 400. Kurt Busch is the winner at Miami. 2nd for Nemechek, 3rd for Jeff Burton. Mark Martin's title bid will be a strong one today. He'll finish 4th. But at the end of the day, the big trophy will go to Tony Stewart. The Rushville Rocket from Indiana is the 2002 NASCAR Winston Cup champion.
There's a big sigh of relief.
Yes, it is.
It didn't come easy at a track where they've dominated in the 3 previous Winston Cup races here. An 18th place finish for the 20 car today, but it did the job. 2nd Winston Cup championship for Joe Gibbs Racing, and Tony Stewart is now just the 25th man in history to wear a NASCAR Winston Cup champion's ring. There's his teammate Bobby Labonte offering congratulations in the 18 car. Victories this season for Tony Stewart at Atlanta, Richmond, on the road course at Watkins Glen. He'll win the championship despite failing to finish 6 races this season. Who'd have thought at lap 3 of the Daytona 500 Tony Stewart would be champion? The first race of the year, he was the first car out with engine failure at lap 2. But when it's all said and done, after 14,353 miles of racing, Tony Stewart's the champion. Marty?
Greg Zipadelli gets a hug from his wife, Nan. There's lots of stuff flying around here that is, I don't know what that stuff's called. And I think the biggest gets a hug from his brother, Scott Zipadelli. One of the mechanics on the 18 car, Bobby Labonte. I think the biggest feeling down here, Zippy, is just relief. With me, take a deep breath. It's over, buddy.
Yeah, it is. Thanks to this man right here. I had the opportunity to put a great team together. I don't even know what to say, man. It's been a long year.
You came here from New Britain, Connecticut, a young guy, worked with Jeff Burton for a while, but you produced the 25th Winston Cup champion in Tony Stewart. He said before the race, if it weren't for you and these guys, this would have never happened this year.
Yeah, we've had a tough year. You know, it's been up and down, but it sure makes it all worth it.
Finished 43rd in the Daytona 500. Do you ever think it would happen?
Boy, I don't think we ever gave up, but there were some days where we had our doubts. But,
all right, the Zipadelli family here celebrating the Winston Cup championship, Dave.
And Mark Martin going down to talk to Jeff Gordon, the guy who gave up the championship this year. Mark, as he came in and talking to his guys, just talking about how much they have given to try to give Mark Martin this championship this year. And now Mark with a smile and a thumbs up for Jeff. Mark, talk to us about your comments to your crew and just how hard you guys worked today to try to get this championship.
Well, Well, we give it everything we had. Those guys just were a little bit stronger than us, but what an effort, man. You know, we came from the back of the pack and we wrestled ill handling all day, and we got it right at the end, and the car was just really, really good, and we worked our way up all day, and that's, I only regret that I could have provided more leadership for this team so that we could have scored an extra 100 or 150 points this year somewhere along the line all together, and then we would have won it, hands down, but we didn't, and I couldn't. I've done all I could, and I'm proud of what we accomplished.
They put a cap on the season with a late season run that gave them a shot, and they took it once again today. Marty?